Hi guys, welcome back to a new video. My name is Carla for those of you that are new, and I just wanted to thank you so much for 200 subscribers. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, just hit the red button below and also give me a like if you enjoy this video. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 13 things that I wish I had known before giving birth. This week I got my very first video request, so I was so excited to bring it to you. I'm so happy that I'm actually able to help people out there. I was fortunate enough to have older cousins and friends who have already given birth, but if you're not in that position, I'd love to be the person to talk to you like a friend or a sister to prepare you for this huge change that's about to happen in your life. So if you want to find out the 13 things that I wish I had known before giving birth, then just keep watching. Before I start, I just wanted to let you know I've only given birth one time, so if you have given birth multiple times and you've got a lot of experience, if you've got anything to add, please just put it in the comments below, and then pregnant people that are watching this video can read the comments as well. So these are just the things that I found that I wish I'd have known. So the first thing is that the newborn stage is actually quite boring. So once you've finished having your baby and you come home and it's just you and this newborn baby, they sleep most of the time. Literally all you're doing is feeding them, changing their nappy, and then they sleep. That's pretty much all they do. So it can be pretty boring. I mean, when I first had Devon, I stayed in bed a lot of the time, just holding him with him on the boob, and I just got into a Netflix series. It was Jane the Virgin. I loved Jane the Virgin, so that was all I done when he was like a tiny newborn. If you have a vaginal birth, then obviously afterwards it is quite sore down there, and when you pee and poo it is very, very stingy. So what I would suggest is I used a product called Spritz for Bits. Let me show you. So my cousin, she's had 3 babies and she sent me this over from England. So it's called Spritz for Bits and it's by the brand My Expert Midwife. But basically it's just a spray that you spray down there and it's really soothing. So when you get that like burny pee, I don't know, it just helps to soothe it and sting less. So yeah, also drink a lot of water because then it will kind of water down your pee quite a bit. And for the first poo, honestly, it wasn't that bad. Just go on your tippy toes, lean forward, don't push, just let it come out. So only go once you actually really need to go so that it kind of just comes out itself. I'm so sorry that this is TMI, but honestly, I want to help you. If you don't have a sister or a cousin to tell you, I'm going to be the one to tell you. So yeah, just tippy toes, lean forward and just let it come out on its own, and then it won't be that bad. I had a vaginal birth, so yeah. The next thing is that birth plans are pretty pointless. It's good to have, so obviously, you know, write one, discuss with your midwife what you would want to do, but honestly, I think 9 times out of 10 it probably won't work out like that. So for me, mine just completely went out of the window. I ended up getting induced, so you don't know what's going to happen. So yeah, have a birth plan, but really don't expect too much from it. So the next point is about giving birth to the placenta, because I didn't know this. So I think before, when you're actually writing down like in your birthing book that the hospital give you, you'll actually tick a box to say if you're happy to get the injection to help you birth the placenta, which I was happy to do that, you know, just get it over with. So I ticked the box. But so I don't know what happens if you don't have the injection, but if you have the injection, I ended up having an epidural, so I didn't feel the injection. I didn't even see her do it, but actually giving birth to the placenta, it's fine, it doesn't hurt at all. She kind of just pushed on my belly for me, told me to do like a little that was literally all it took, and it just plopped out. So that was that. And then I didn't want to keep my placenta. I know people keep them and make pills and things like that with them, but I didn't keep mine, so they just took it away. I didn't even really see it. But yeah, I think if you want to do pills, then you would discuss that beforehand, and then they would keep it for you, put it in a bloody cool box or something. But yeah, that's another thing. If you decide that you're going to breastfeed your baby will be attached to your breast most of the day. Newborns cluster feed, and what cluster feeding is basically they're just never full. They will feed. So they've been on, say, like half an hour, they come off and then they cry again, and you're thinking, oh, well, you can't be hungry, you've literally just come off. And then you try everything else, they're still crying, put them back on the boob, they stop crying. So that is how I knew what cluster feeding was. Yeah, so it's they do it a lot when they're newborn. Another thing is to make sure you do your kegels. I would love to practice what I preach, and I have been trying, but during my pregnancy I didn't really do them. I did them if I thought about it, but really I didn't do enough. But now, like after giving birth, I realised, oh, okay, that's why it was important to do them, because straight after giving birth, if you have a vaginal birth, I don't know if it's the same for C-section, but definitely for vaginal birth, I was unable to hold my pee. If I needed to pee, I needed to be on the toilet like right now, because I couldn't hold it at all. And also when I was actually peeing, I couldn't like stop it midway. Literally, I would try and tense the muscles that were there, and it was as if I had nothing there. It wouldn't even slow down the flow of the pee. Like literally the muscles down there did nothing. I remember one day, and this is TMI as well, but I trust you, I needed to pee and I was about to shower, and I turned on the water of the shower and it made me need to go, and so I just started peeing. I peed myself, so I quickly like jumped into the shower, and I was like, oh my gosh, and it was just coming out and I couldn't do anything about that. I was literally just standing there peeing myself, so that wasn't very fun. If I found out I was pregnant tomorrow, I would be doing my kegels, and as well, like after having given birth, I'd be doing my kegels a lot, it was very inconvenient. Another thing I didn't know is that baby boys can get an erection and baby girls can get a period. So if either of those things happen to your baby, that is normal. I cannot stress the importance of getting to know your body and being aware of your body when you're pregnant, because in my experience, my waters went and I didn't know that they had gone. So I may not have even gone to the hospital if I wasn't aware of my body. The amount of water that I had it was a little bit more than normal discharge, but it wasn't enough for me to think it was my waters at all. So if you even get the slightest bit of watery discharge, go to the hospital and get it tested, because I called the first time I got water, and the people at the hospital said that it was fine and to carry on about my day. And it wasn't until it happened again the next night that they said, oh, we'll come in and we'll check it, and it was amniotic fluid. All they do is just put a little swab there and it will tell you if it's amniotic fluid or not, because sometimes it can be like pee or something, which is quite common in late pregnancy, but it might be amniotic fluid, and in that case your baby needs to come out, because then you're at high risk of infection. So I ended up actually having a dry birth because I didn't really know. So that's one thing I'd say, is just be very aware of your body. If something is slightly not normal, go to the hospital just to be sure. The same thing goes for kick counts. If you feel like your baby, you know, you haven't felt so many kicks as normal, lay down, you know, count the kicks. If anything, if you're concerned at all, go to the hospital. Make sure you go to the hospital, because you never know, and you'd rather have that peace of mind than if you didn't go and then you were left wondering. So I actually, once in my pregnancy, I was at work and I hadn't felt kicks for a very long time, and I was used to lots of kicks. I would feel kicks constantly throughout the day, and I didn't feel kicks for a while, so I went to hospital that night, and they ended up, you know, putting the Doppler on and checking everything over, and he ended up fine. It's good for you to just come in and get that peace of mind. The other thing is that newborn babies get very, very gassy and windy, and it makes them cry, and it's really, really sad. Just make sure that every time they feed, make sure you burp them, get some wind out. And if they cry and they're in windy pain, they like pull their legs up to their chest. Some things that I found worked with Devon was bicycle legs. So I'd lay him on his back, go bicycle, bicycle, like this. I can't hold anything but here. So bicycle legs like this, do it gently, and then pull his legs straight and then I'd push his legs up towards his chest, and 9 times out of 10 I'd get a big fart out of him, and then he was happy. So there's that. So you might have to do it a few times, so basketball, few times like that, but yeah, that should work. If not, I also googled, and there's a spot just underneath the baby's ribs, so just kind of there on the, I believe it was the left side, so you just find where their ribs are, just underneath the rib cage, just massage lightly in a circle, and sometimes that works, and a couple of times it worked for Devon. I'd just do that on that spot and he would break wind. So that was amazing, that worked really good. The other thing is that during labour, if you don't ask for any pain relief, they won't offer it to you. Just something to note. If you want like an epidural, you actually have to say, I want an epidural, I want an epidural. Like, you have to actually ask them, otherwise they're not just going to offer like, oh, are you okay, would you like an epidural, would you like gas and air. I think it depends what hospital you go to, but when I went to my antenatal class, they said that that was the case. But if you watched my labour and delivery story, you'd know that they gave me the epidural because I may have needed to have a C-section. So I think in that case they would give it to you. But yeah, if you're just, you know, having a normal birth, then I think you do have to ask for what pain relief you want, otherwise they won't offer it to you. I could be wrong. And another breastfeeding one is that I had no idea what a letdown felt like. So I'm going to tell you, because no one told me. It feels like, so it's when your milk actually starts to come out. So you'll feel like kind of pins and needles, like a tingly feeling, and then all of a sudden you'll feel it, you'll know, and then you're like, oh gosh, milk's about to come out, and it literally will come out. And in the beginning, when I first started breastfeeding, like, you'll normally have quite an oversupply. So I would say I had a shower or something, the hot water would stimulate a letdown and they would just start leaking everywhere. But I remember not knowing what it was, so I didn't know when one was coming or anything. Well, I felt that feeling, but I didn't know that that was linked. But yeah, I'm here to tell you that they're linked. So yeah, they would start to leak, and I'd actually have to go over the sink like this and just let the milk like pour out, because there was a lot. So that's a letdown. That will happen quite a lot in the beginning. Once your baby and you establish your breastfeeding and you get into a bit of more of a routine, then it will sort itself out a little bit. But in the beginning, when your boobs are just like, oh my gosh, you've just given birth, let's make all the milk, you will leak a lot. I lived in breast pads for 3 months, and the breast pads would get so full. It was very uncomfortable. That's one thing I didn't like, was that they were always covered like this, and they were just always full of milk, and like the breast pads would then start to itch a bit, and you're just changing breast pads all the time. It's okay, it's just like being damp. You're just damp there all the time. But yeah, it luckily doesn't last too long. I think after maybe 2 months it started to settle down a bit, although I was wearing breast pads until I think 3 to 4 months. They didn't get so full at that point. They would kind of just absorb, and that was that. But yeah, I remember in the beginning the breast pads would get so full they would like heavy. So yeah, that's another thing. The next thing is that it can get a little bit lonely. So you'll get quite a lot of visitors at the beginning. Everyone wants to see your baby, and that is quite overwhelming. But then once everybody's seen your baby, I mean, this might not be the case for everyone, but your visitors will die down, and then it does get quite lonely because, you know, everybody goes back to work and you're off with your baby. But it's okay. I mean, I loved it, but yeah, it can get lonely. And then the last thing, a friend of mine on Facebook just shared this, so I thought I'd include it on the video because it was quite fitting, is to try and birth on all fours, or just kind of let gravity help you. So I'm going to show you a photo on my phone, and I'm hoping that it will come up with the lighting. But so it was showing, if you birth on your back like this, if you birth laying on your back, then here's baby's head here. It kind of has to go around a bend to come out, but if you birth on all fours like this, then the baby will kind of just slip. Well, not slip down, I wish it was that easy, but gravity will help, and it only needs to go like this, you know, down in one direction. So I actually birthed on my back because I had an epidural, but if I had the choice next time, I'll definitely give that a go. I've heard a lot of women who give birth on all fours swear by it, and it works and helps you deliver. So yeah, you could give that a go. So that's everything that I could think of on what I wish that I had known before giving birth. I really hope that it helped you if you're pregnant. Please don't be worried, just, you know, take it as it comes. You're about to welcome your baby into this world, and it's such an exciting time. You can do this, you've got this, your body was designed for this. So don't be worried. I hope I helped you out, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.